All right, welcome everyone. It's around 12:18 p.m. So we're going to start in 1 minute. I'm just going to get everything set up and I'm going to teach you how you can create college level courses. Um, and this is something I've done repeatedly. So I really know all the details and I can teach you. I want to share with you
All right, welcome
absolutely
everyone.
everything that I know so that you have the information in hand and you can create college level courses. Now, first of all, I want to mention that please don't be intimidated when I say college level courses. It simply means that you will be able to create like a 15-week course teaching whatever it is that you know, but it doesn't have to be a 15-week course. It can be a 2-hour Zoom webinar. The reason why I mentioned 15-week course, and that's 45 hours of classroom time because it's 3 hours per week. I mentioned that because ultimately that's what you aim to do. You aim to create something, a course that is so robust, so comprehensive that you're going to be able to teach it and easily make money from YouTube, because previously we talked about live streaming on YouTube with your laptop. And if you remember, we talked about how you can live stream on YouTube, not by showing your face on a webcam, but just by playing a pre-recorded video. Because once you have those videos, you can just play them as a live stream on YouTube. And live streaming means that people can watch live and they can ask you questions in the chat section. And in fact, you as a teacher or course developer don't have to appear in the chat section, because your teaching assistants can appear and they can answer questions from your live stream viewers. And you can also sell advanced video products. So the live stream you're going to be creating is going to be free. It's free education. And during the live stream, you can make a special offer to viewers and you can sell them a course through Gumroad. So that's what the previous live streams were about, how you can turn your laptop into a money machine. But now we want to start with something very foundational. And, it's about how you can create a 15-week course. So just to give you some background, I've been a teacher since 2005. And so so that's like 21 years ago. And I learned so much about creating workshops, seminars, and I want to save you time by sharing with you all my hacks, all my techniques and tricks so that you can, create courses from whatever knowledge that you have. And you're going to see that I'm going to compress the last 21 years of experience, of mistakes, of best practices, so that you really have in your hand everything, well, in your mind, everything that you need in order to make money from your knowledge. And in my estimation, the 1 billion users on LinkedIn, they can easily create a course, a workshop, a seminar, a webinar, and they can easily make money from teaching. Okay. Because what's happening, and this is one of my major insights in my work life, in my career, one of the things that so few people are aware of is that there are actually 5 ways to make money. And because of our culture, I live in Canada, but it's probably the same in the United States, in Europe, or even in Asia. People focus only on the first way to make money. So let's review those 5 ways quickly, because I want you to understand that once you know how to create a webinar of 60 minutes, a seminar, a workshop, 1 hour is probably the minimum. Once you learn how to create a course or some teaching material, it's going to open up like a whole new avenue, whole new horizons for you to make money. So the first way to make money is services. And this is what, like, even teenagers, they understand. They show up at a fast food restaurant, they get a job at McDonald's, Tim Hortons, etc. And this is unfortunately what people are stuck at. There's 1 billion people who who are professionals, who are very smart, university educated, but their belief system is such that they're stuck on this one way to make money. They provide professional services. They might be earning 50K, 60K, 80K, even like $200,000 per year, but they're stuck in services. And so what happens is that they're exchanging their time for money. There is a second way, which I learned like 21 years ago, 2005, which is extremely powerful, especially today with YouTube live streaming, with platforms like teachable.com, where you can sell your video courses. There are so many ways to monetize and make money through this second way. And of course, it is teaching. And so few people consider teaching as a way to make money, because most people, they think of teaching, they remember their high school teachers, and they probably remember, oh my God, my high school teacher had such problems with my classmates, And so people view teaching as a career, but it's not a career. It doesn't have to be a career, okay? Teaching doesn't have to be a career. It can just be an income generation method. If you know something that is valuable, you can teach other people. And today with artificial intelligence, I can easily translate what I'm saying right now into 20 different languages thanks to Google, and it's completely free. AI can translate what I'm saying now into Hindi, German, Japanese, Spanish, etc. So you can teach in multiple languages, but you have to, believe in your capacity to teach. Now, basically, if you have a mouth, you can teach. Okay, that's my strong belief. Okay, and I really stand by that. If you have a mouth, you can teach. That's it. If you have a mouth, you can teach. You can even use the knowledge and the course material of other people, and you can teach. And that's it. If you have a mouth, you can teach. You don't need a master's degree in education. You don't need teaching experience. You don't need to have an amazing voice. No, if you have a mouth, you can teach in your own language or in English. And so this is the second source of income. I'm just going to go over the other three very quickly, and then we're going to start this live stream on how you can create college level courses. The third way is consulting, and then you have selling. That includes affiliate marketing. And finally, you have creating. So you can create, digital products, web applications, video courses, etc. So these are the 5 ways to make money. But unfortunately, like I said, most people get stuck on just like services. So can you believe that services is just 20%? So whatever money you're making right now, you're making only 20% of your potential. Okay, so you're leaving 80% of money on the table. And so we're going to explore all these ways. But today I'm going to focus on teaching and teach you how, since 2005, I've been able to create a sales workshop where I'm teaching just one evening, and I got paid $2,000. I'm creating, like in 2009, I created Ideal Career Workshop or seminar, sold it to McGill for $10,000. 2012, I believe, a LinkedIn workshop, sold it to the McGill School of Continuing Education for $2,000. And then 2017, from 2017 to 2022, I created so many courses, way over $100,000. I was teaching at a college called Taft College. You can check them out. In the digital marketing program, I created the course Email Marketing, Project Management, Online Marketing Research, Computers, and Contemporary Society, etc. So I easily created the course outline, but this money that I made, it's just the tip of the iceberg, because once I've created those 15-week courses, I actually own the intellectual property, the IP, the intellectual property. So it means that I can turn around and I can teach those courses on Zoom, on YouTube, etc., because I own the course, which is very, very important. You have to own the intellectual property. Like I could actually sell a license to trainers, and if I sell a license to trainers, it means that they would be able to take my PowerPoint slides, my exercises, my exams, etc., and they would be able to teach and make money from my course material. And so that's pretty sweet, right? And so today I want to focus on helping you to create 15-week college level courses, because that is very difficult. You can, like, almost anyone can create a 60-minute webinar on Zoom, which is pretty good already. You talk for 60 minutes and you're making money on Zoom. That's very cool, because on Zoom, you can, let me just show you the potential on Zoom. Like if you create a 60-minute webinar on Zoom, that's really the minimum. Like almost anyone can do that. 60-minute Zoom webinar on any topic: Instagram marketing, search engine optimization, copywriting. And let's say that because on Zoom you can have up to 100 participants, or even 300, but let's stick to 100. Let's say you have 100 participants and you charge them a very small fee of $20. It means that after 1 hour you're able to make $2,000 just by teaching on Zoom. So already, if you have a 60-minute Zoom webinar, it's crazy. You can make $2,000. There's no job in the world, there's no job in the world where you can make from services, you can make $2,000 an hour. Impossible. Well, unless you're doing something illegal. So even a 60-minute webinar on Zoom, charging 100 participants, you can make $2,000. And that's not even the end of it, because on Zoom you can actually have the video recordings of your Zoom session. So you can sell the video later on, I don't know, to 500 people. And if you sell it just for $10, that's an extra $5,000. And you can continue to sell the video recordings. That's passive income, right? You sell them to your LinkedIn connections, etc., and you're making that amount of money in passive income. And so even a 60-minute Zoom webinar or 2 hour, it's up to you, you can make this kind of money, which is really amazing. Anyways, that's really for beginners. You should start with a 60-minute. 30 minutes is probably too little. So in 60 minutes, you can have like 45 minutes of teaching, and you can have 15 minutes of questions and answers. It's always important to be interactive like that. Don't teach for 60 minutes, because people always have questions. And of course, when they ask you questions, it's going to allow you to improve the next version of your webinar. All right. So, but today, like I said, I want to focus on how you can create a 15-week course. That's, way more challenging. So I'm going to put 15-week college course on any topic, by the way. Like if you're an expert in your area, in your field, you can easily create a 15-week. So what are the steps? And this is very crucial. You should take notes. What are the steps to create a college level course? Drum roll, please. And this took me a while to figure out, but I've created several courses, and this is like a proven procedure. Like, this is where you're creating intellectual property, IP, out of nothing. And this is really crazy. And I just want to show you, just to go back here, this is where you're making money by creating a course, okay? You're creating something out of nothing. You're creating something new that didn't exist before. Now, you're not really creating something out of nothing. You're creating it from your knowledge and other people's knowledge. So step number one, so let's take an example. In 2017, I didn't have an email marketing course, right? So I want to create an email marketing course because I was hired to do that, but I don't have any course material. And so step number one is you have to do research online. And it's very easy. There are tons of email marketing ebooks, courses, course outlines. Just go online and just research and see what other email marketing teachers are doing. So remember, in 2017 January, I had 0 teaching material. So I'm just going online. I'm just researching. And then from your research, you have to figure out like what are the key topics, because remember in 2017, the digital marketing program at Taft College didn't exist. They created it. That's 9 years ago. It didn't exist at all. So there was no email marketing course material for teachers to use. So I had to create it from scratch. So I do research online, and I identify the most important things when it comes to email marketing. And then, and this is very crucial, then I create a Google document with 15 modules. So it's very basic. For example, the first module is, I don't know, what the hell is email marketing? Like, it's really introduction. And then, what are the key success factors? And so you have 15 headings like that. And under each heading, I'm going to later on explain further. So it's very important to have those 15 modules, just the headings. And then you move on to the next step. And this is very important. Each module is basically a 3-hour session in the classroom. Okay. So just want to make that clear. Each module is a 3-hour classroom session. So think about it, because this course is taking place over 15 weeks. And every week we cover one module. And each module is a 3-hour session. Now, obviously, it's a 3-hour session, so you have to plan it. You have to tell students what it's going to be all about, right? So for each module, you write a lesson objective. And this is where a lot of people lose their way, and this is where the professionals can really show how professional they are. Hold on, let me just... And so you have to have a lesson objective for each of these 15 modules. So, so basically you have 15 objectives. So let's take an example. The first module, email. What is email marketing? Okay. The objective at the end of the 3 hours might be for students will understand what email marketing is, why it is important, and the key success factors. That's it. And so when you have a lesson objective, you can actually create a quick quiz or a test that you can give to students at the end of the module. So the test would be something like, explain what email marketing is, write down why it is important, and list the 5 key success factors of email marketing. So you can see that the objective allows you to write a test at the end of the 3 hour. And that's one thing that you're never, ever, ever going to get from YouTubers. YouTubers don't really care about your understanding and assimilating the material. They just want you to watch, their videos, and they always tell you subscribe, and it's kind of annoying. But they're not teachers. Okay, you can't really learn much from YouTubers because they never, at the end of the video so far, I've never seen anyone, any YouTuber give you a test. But here's the thing, guys, you have to understand when it comes to teaching, if you're not testing, you're not teaching. And this is so important that maybe I should put it somewhere, because it is so important and it is ignored by so many people. And once you know this, suddenly you're so much ahead of the pack when it comes to teaching. Okay, if you are not testing, you are not teaching. It doesn't matter whether you appear on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you're not testing your viewers, your students, you are not teaching. You're just talking. Okay? If you're not testing, you're not teaching. You're just talking. Now, I'm not saying there's anything bad with talking. You can follow someone on YouTube and learn, but from my perspective, if you're not testing, you're not teaching. Talking can be inspirational, it can be motivational, but you're not going to go, you're not going to change your life, you're not going to change your career, your business, if you don't have a skill, if you're not tested by the teacher. And of course, testing means that you have the opportunity to be wrong. Okay? Testing means you get the opportunity to be wrong, and being wrong is okay, because once you have the right answer, then you can correct yourself and become better. And this is such a critical idea when it comes to self-improvement, when it comes to improving anything that you do in life. If you cannot correct yourself because you haven't been tested, you cannot become better. On the other hand, if you keep testing yourself all the time, it means you're going to get better all the time. And there is no limit to how much you can achieve. Okay? So it's very important to have a lesson objective. And at the end of each session, you're going to test your students, and they will see if they got the right answer or the wrong answer. And this is, if you're giving them a multiple choice test, then they can answer and see the answer key, and they can evaluate themselves. Okay, so very important. You have to write a lesson objective. A lot of people, they tell me they've been teaching, but I ask them, well, send me your course outline, send me your PowerPoint presentations. And if they don't have it, if they don't have a test, then they're not real teachers. Like a real teacher will always test you. And you know this already, right? In high school, college, or university, you've been tested by your teachers. And that's how you know whether you've passed the course or not. All right, so moving on. Step number 4. Once you have the lesson objectives, you have 15 objectives, then you can write the tests for each of the 15 modules. So can you see that you cannot write a test unless and until you have an objective? Okay. And then moving on, let me just it sounds really counterintuitive, right? Because so far we don't even have the PowerPoint slides, which are just reminders of what you should mention. So why is it that we do the test first? Well, it actually comes from one of the 7 habits of effective people by Stephen Covey, and I really recommend that book. It came around in the 1980s, but it was hugely popular. It's still applicable today. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And one of the 7 habits that Mr. Covey mentioned is that you have to start with the end in mind. And so the end here is the test. Okay, the end is the test. And I want to share with you something here. The end is the test. So basically, one hack here is that, and this is not something I did in college, but it's something I'm going to do for my LinkedIn connections. I'm going to give them a test, and if they succeed, don't buy my course on email marketing, whatever. But if they fail, then I will gently suggest that they take my email marketing course or whatever course I'm creating. So when you have a test, it's very cool because you can tell your prospects, look, you don't have to take my course, just do the test. It's free. Just, give them a free test. And if they pass the test, fine, you don't need my course. But if they fail the test, then they probably can benefit from taking my email marketing course, because typically it has been shown that when you invest $1 into email marketing, you generally get $40 in revenue, right? So it's very important. This is a very good return on investment. So it's my sales argument. Take my email marketing course, because then you can multiply by 40, whatever investment you're investing in email marketing. So anyways, here you have to write a test for each of the 15 modules. The test can be multiple choice, but ideally it should be essay questions. So essay questions. So after you're done writing a test for each of the 15 modules, then you can start to, create the PowerPoint slides. And guys, I know that some of this may sound like very basic, like, come on, Peter, like, we know all this. But trust me, all of this takes time and you have to do it in the right way. So right now, I'm just sharing with you exactly the step-by-step procedure. And later on, I'm going to show you exactly how you can succeed at each of these steps. You can do so efficiently and, accurately, so that, because every step is important. So now you're creating the PowerPoint slides, and there are ways to create those slides so that it's intriguing to people. Typically it should be just 4 lines per slide. If you put more than 4 lines, it's going to be too overwhelming. If you put less than 4 lines, it's not enough information for them to think about. And also, you can put images, you can put a quiz, you can put an intriguing question. So there are ways to write the slides so that when you show it on a giant screen, it's going to trigger certain thoughts in their minds. Okay, and it's almost like copywriting. So here, it's not just writing, the text on your PowerPoint slides. There are ways to create them so that it becomes very engaging, because you have to remember, this is super important. But let me quiz you. In your opinion, as a teacher, what do you think is the most important aspect of learning? Think about that for a few seconds. Okay, this is super important. What is the most important thing for teachers to understand? Think about that for a few seconds, and I'll give you the answer in a few seconds. But this, so many teachers don't understand this, and paradoxically or ironically, so many marketers understand this. Marketers are not teachers, and yet they understand something that teachers don't understand. Like high school teachers, and in Quebec, like 1 in 3 boys is dropping out of high school because they don't understand this. Teachers and school boards don't understand this, and it's so important to understand. And if you're a parent, you want to understand this, because this is how you're going to be able to teach your children. So what is the most important thing for teachers to understand? That's the one thing that is going to regulate, that's going to supervise, monitor everything that you're doing in your teaching career or your teaching material creation. The most important thing, are you ready for this? Is student motivation. That is the most important thing. And so we have a lot of marketers out there, Russell Brunson and Dan Kennedy. Those guys are masters of people motivation. They're not really students, more like client motivation. They know how to motivate people. Like even a guy, I'm just going to go on a tangent here, because teaching is so critical to what we do in life, that we can learn how other people are teaching, even if their motives are not quite noble and pure. But you have a guy like Tai Lopez. How did he start his social media empire? Well, you probably saw him on YouTube, here in my garage, and you see him using his iPhone to videotape himself in front of his Lamborghini. Everybody knows Tai Lopez, right? And then later on in his YouTube videos, you know, he gives you a tour of his mansion. Some people say that it's not really his mansion or his castle. He rented it, but that's not important. And then you see him hanging around with Miss Michigan. She was a Miss USA, I think, 2012, whatever. And he's hanging around with, you know, girls, beautiful girls in bikinis. You might see him on a private jet. So what is he doing exactly? Whether you hate him or whether you like him, you cannot deny the fact that this guy, he's a multimillionaire. He's a master of student or client motivation. He knows how to motivate his audience, and his audience is basically young men age 18 to 30, young men who are impressed by sports cars, who are impressed by wealth, impressed by, you know, the success with women, impressed by material luxury. And so he knows how to motivate his audience. You know, his audience tends to be young men who are easily seduced by material wealth. And I'm not judging, you know, if this is for you, this is for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. My point here is simply that Tai Lopez is a master of motivation. So as a teacher, you also want to become a master of motivation. And that's why, like, you know, your PowerPoint slides are not just the PowerPoint slides that you saw before in high school or in college or universities. I mean, those PowerPoint slides are so freaking boring. Excuse my French, but, you know, I went to McGill University. I don't remember any PowerPoint slides. They're so boring. And that's why teachers have a hard time making money. You know, teachers don't understand motivation. But in their defense, you know, the college professors and the university professors that you had, you know why they don't really care about student motivation? Because they don't need student motivation. You need to pass the course in order to get your diploma. So they don't care about your student motivation. They know that you're not going to drop out of a course. You have to take that course to get those 3 credits so that you graduate. But remember that what we're doing here is that we're teaching in the private sector. So in the private sector, if your PowerPoint slides are boring, I'm sorry, but your students are going to drop out. They're going to ask for a refund. And so you need to motivate your students. In the private sector, like, you have adult learners, they're not teenagers, right? They can drop you, you know, and ask for a refund. And so it's important to maintain student motivation, and that's where the PowerPoint slides are very important. In addition to the PowerPoint slides, of course, you want to create also short videos that you can show to show in a screening, in a session. I remember once, you know, I was in the classroom and I actually showed a scene from Rocky Balboa. I think it was Rocky 3. It was the opening. No, it was Rocky 3. No, it was Rocky 2. And the opening was Rocky is boxing against, what's his name? Forgot the name of the champion. But anyways, it was such an amazing scene. And it was so inspirational. Rocky, of course, right? And the students, especially the male students, they were telling me, this is the best course ever, Peter. And yeah, my purpose for showing that video was to show them that even if you're a loser, and of course everybody starts out as a loser, you can be like Rocky. You can have the fighting spirit and just stay the course, 15 rounds, just stay the course, and you're going to succeed. You know, just, you know, stay the course, be consistent. So anyways, you can also create your own videos to show. So that's one method for keeping students motivated. Because remember, you gotta keep them motivated for 3 hours, right? Okay, so that's the next one. And then the next step would be to create like in-class exercises. And this is something that they can do. They get together in small groups and, you know, they do the exercises. Another thing that you want to do, so exercises are not typically not graded. It's just for them to think about the material. So one mistake I made at the beginning, I know you're going to laugh, but I was lecturing almost for 3 hours. I was just talking, but you don't do that. Okay. So what you do typically is maybe you lecture for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. You explain the concepts, and then you have 10 or 20 minutes of exercises where they are working out and they try to understand the concepts, the principles, the techniques that you just explained. So 20 minutes exercise. Okay. But that's not graded. It's just to help them to understand and delve into the concepts. This is very important. And by the way, once again, there's no YouTuber out there who's going to do that for you. So you're not really learning on YouTube. You're just getting the information. You're not learning. You're learning in a Zoom session because the webinar leader will give you 20 minutes to do exercise. And in a Zoom session, of course, you should create rooms so that people get together in different rooms. And so that's the next step. Step number 8, let me see. Yeah, so step number 8 can be, you finalize the very important, the course outline. The course outline will have the 15 modules. It will describe the objective for each module, and it will mention the exercises for each module. So let me give you an example of one module so that you understand what's involved. So let's say sample module. So the first thing is, what is email marketing? Let's say that is the name of the module. And after that, you write the learning objective and you write the topics covered. So for example, what is email marketing? Who needs it? Why it's important? And then key success factors. So those are the topics. And finally, you have exercises. And that's it. That's, sample module 1. And you have 15 such modules. The title, what is email marketing? The learning objective, what are the topics covered? And, this is important because at least students can follow you, the exercises, and maybe the PowerPoint file to download. And it's very important to make your PowerPoint files available to students before they come to the first session. So at least they can familiarize themselves with it. And when they come to class, they have everything on their computers and they can just follow you on the giant screen. So this is an example of module 1. And you can see right away, it's not that hard. It's just the topic, the objective, and then the details, and then the exercises, you can describe it, and the PowerPoint file. And this is what is required to become a college professor or a university professor. All right. So let's go back here. You finalize the course outline, and typically what happens at Taft College is that I would submit the course outline to the coordinator, and he would approve it, and then I would, launch the course. And 100% of the case, he usually approves it. And that's it. You have intellectual property that you can teach in a college. You can teach on Zoom. You can teach your LinkedIn connections. You can teach to anyone online. And like I said before, you can translate all of this into other languages, and you can teach to people in other countries. And so these 8 steps really is the recipe for creating a college level course that will position you as a true thought leader, as a teacher, as an expert in your field. And you can see that it's not that difficult. It's just that you have to go about it step by step. You research online to see what's being done. what they call state of the art, what is being done in the field of email marketing. You create a draft of 15 modules. This is the first module. You write the objectives, you write the test, okay? Because remember, if you're not testing, you're not teaching. And then you create a PowerPoint slides, you create videos. This is optional, by the way. You create exercises, and you finalize the course outline. And after that, you start teaching. So, and get feedback. You get feedback so that you can improve the course over time. So never assume that the course that you created is perfect. It's not perfect. Some of the slides might have to be rewritten because, students might say, sir, the second point, I'm not clear what you mean. Then, in the future, you can modify, improve that slide. So course outline, finalize course outline, submit for approval. If you have a program coordinator. Sometimes, if you're teaching on your own, you don't need approval. I think I forgot something. The test is written. Start teaching. Yeah, so the last step is, I guess you can improve the course material continually. So this is it's a continual process, right? It's not, you're not creating the course once and then you never touch it again. It doesn't work that way. You're always improving the course continually. So guys, you have it, 10 easy steps so that you can create a college level course, and after that you can teach that course on YouTube, live stream on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you're gonna make so much money from teaching that course. But you have to create that material first, and as you can see, it's really just step by step. So let me just go over them and identify maybe the most difficult steps so that you have an idea of where you should spend maximum effort, because that's where it gets tricky. Okay, so research online. You read about all the material created by your competition, what I call SOTA, state of the art. That's easy. Create a Google document with 15 modules. This is really just a draft, so don't stress yourself. It's just a draft. Whoa, so that's easy. It's just a draft of 15 modules. And let me just put it here to, I'll just talk about it later on, but right now I'm just going to go over, and so that's easy. Write the lesson objectives. That could be hard because everything depends on the objective for each lesson. So if you're choosing the wrong objective, for example, it's not clear, it's not specific, it's too easy, it's too hard, that can get you into trouble. So this is where you have to be super duper careful. Okay, super careful. Write the test for each. This is easy if the objective is clear. So writing a test is not hard. Creating PowerPoint slides, that could be a challenge. You want to create slides that are visual. So you put images, you put diagrams, you put something that is really engaging. So this is where you have to be quite careful, because your PowerPoint slides are going to guide your lectures, right? Because when you look at the PowerPoint slides, everybody looks at it, everybody is on the same page. So this is very tricky. You want to take your time to create those slides. And the good news is that if you go on, I think it's gamma.ai, it's going to create slides for you, and you just have to improve the slides. So you don't start from scratch. You just describe to Gamma, I think gamma.ai or gamma.app, I forgot. It's going to generate the slides for you. You just have to improve. Create the videos to show. That's easy. In-class exercises, that is a challenge. So you want to be careful about that, because the exercises will allow them to deepen their understanding or just start to understand the concepts you're talking about. So this is where you have to be careful. I'm going to put it in red. This one also, it's important. I'm going to put it in red. Finalize the course outline. That's easy. You're just structuring the final course outline. Start teaching. Okay, that's that's not easy, because especially if you, like most people, have a fear of public speaking, it might not be easy, but it gets easier over time. So what is important to remember is that when you start speaking in public in front of a classroom or in a Zoom session, guys, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to stumble over your words. You're not going to speak in a very articulate way. You're going to speak too slowly, or you're going to speak too fast, right? But that's the worst that you're going to get. As you teach more, you get better. You get funnier also. I try to be funny in my classroom. I tell jokes all the time. But you're going to get experience. So it's not difficult. You just have to get started. And improving the course material continually, it's not difficult. So as you can see, there are only 3 steps out of 10, steps 3, 5, and 7, that are quite challenging and you want to take your time. But everything else is kind of easy. So you have a step-by-step procedure here that allows you to create intellectual property that could be worth like millions of dollars, because not only are you going to teach all of this stuff, the course, but you can sell a license to other people so that they take your course material and they start teaching and they start making money. So you can sell a license for $1,000, for $5,000. You know, it's up to you. But your professional trainers who buy your license, they don't have to go through all of this. You know, this could take you 5 days. It could take you 2 weeks to complete, but it doesn't matter. Even if it takes you 2 weeks to complete all these steps, after 2 weeks, you have a real asset. You have an asset that you can make money from. And this is what is missing in so many people. I would say that the 1 billion LinkedIn users, they're missing this part. You know, you often see gurus or so-called gurus online. They tell you, hey, join my webinar and in 1 weekend, you're going to be able to write an ebook. That's fine, but an ebook is not a course. You can write an ebook and you can sell an ebook for $20, but that's it. But when you're creating a college level course like this in 15 weeks, my God, this cannot be done in a weekend. You know, it takes 2 weeks, but you just have to take the time, you know, to create a college level course. And you don't have to do it alone, by the way. You can partner with somebody else and co-create the course. And after you're done with this course, it can become like whatchamacallit. It can become like an ebook. It can become a video course. So let me show you all the benefits of creating a college level course, because it's not just teaching in a college or in a Zoom session. Let's look at the benefits. So number one, you're seen as an authority in your field. So in my case, it's email marketing, it's copywriting. I developed a 15-week course on professional sales. I'm an expert on online marketing research, project management, entrepreneurship, and info products. So because I created official courses for these topics, you know, I'm an authority in those fields. I might not be the #1 authority in the world, but just by showing my course outline and my ebooks on these topics, you know, people can see that right away I'm an authority in my field. So that's one benefit. It's, you know, social, it's professional, it's your status. But let's talk about the financial benefits here. Okay, so you create a course. After that, you can create Zoom webinars, so you can make money from that. So a Zoom webinar is not going to be 15 weeks. It can be just 3 sessions of 2 hours each. And so you can convert your 15-week course into Zoom webinars. You can convert your 15-week course into an ebook, let's say of 100 pages. You can convert it into a textbook. Textbooks are more sophisticated and more valuable, so you can sell it for $100, and it would have, I don't know, maybe this is just 30 pages. It's a very simple ebook, let's say of $30. A textbook of $100 can have 100 pages. you can turn it into a blueprint or some kind of infographic that you can release for free as a loss leader, right? So it shows, email marketing. It shows a diagram. You can also use Base44 to create a web application that teaches email marketing. And yeah, there are so many benefits, financial benefits, social status benefits that come from creating a college level course. And of course, probably the most valuable financial benefit is that you can create a video course that you can sell for $100 on platforms like teachable.com or Thinkific or Udemy. I use teachable.com. It's very good. You can also sell them on Gumroad. And so what's happening with a video course is that you give away the first 3 modules or videos, and then some of them will buy the whole course that has maybe 10 or 15 modules. So it's not difficult to sell your video course because you release the first 3 modules and some like it, some don't. But the people who like your first 3 modules, they will buy and they will pay you $100, and that's passive income. There's another money-making opportunity. You can create a membership site, and I recommend Gumroad, which is very good for memberships. And so people can pay, let's say, $10 a month, and they will have access to your video course, and they can also ask questions. And so they pay $10 a month. They can cancel at any time. So instead of charging like $100, which might be a showstopper for a lot of people, you charge them only $10 and you serve them every month. The benefit here is that people will ask a lot of questions, and it will allow you to continually develop your video course. So it's up to people. You give them the choice: video course $100 or membership site only $10 per month. $10 a month might not seem like a lot, but when you multiply by the number of subscribers, it could add up very quickly. So let's say you have 200 subscribers or members. That means you're making $1,000 per month. Another benefit is that because you're charging $10 per month, it's going to drive you to develop new content all the time. Because if you stop producing new content, well, they're going to unsubscribe and you're going to lose $2,000 per month. So a membership site will drive you to develop your content. A video course is not going to drive you to do that because the video course is done, right? They buy it or they don't. But a membership site, you can socialize, you can interact with a lot of the members, a lot of the students. So these are some of the benefits. You make so much money in so many ways. And that's why it's important to take the time to create a college level course. A college level course is really the ultimate. It's probably the most valuable thing that I can teach you because, like I said, I created so many college level courses. All these courses, most of these courses were college level courses, I think 7 of them. And so it took me like 20 years to develop the expertise. And this is where I'm currently being helpful to my LinkedIn connections. I have 21,000 LinkedIn connections. And I want to teach them how to do this because to write an ebook, it's not hard. Anyone can do it. A textbook is harder. To write a web app, it's not hard. Base44 can help you. Like even a video course, it's challenging, but it's not that hard. But guess what? To create a college level course of 15 weeks with exercises, projects, with tests, midterms, with PowerPoint slides, that's like a whole different ball game. And hopefully in this live stream, I was able to share with you the basic structure, the basic 10 steps. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. But these 10 steps, I'm planning to turn them into a video course so that anyone can buy that video course and they would be able to create a college level course and make money from their knowledge. Because remember, one of the it's a mistake, or it's a mistake of omission. It's not a mistake of commission. One of the omission errors that people are making is that they're just making money from their services. They're just showing up at the office 9 to 5. They do whatever is required in their job description, but they're neglecting a huge source of income, which is teaching. If you have a mouth and you can speak, you can teach. You can teach on Zoom, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can teach through so many platforms. So why not use your mouth to make money? And when you're teaching, you can teach from home. You can teach through a video course, meaning that you create the video course once and after that you make money forever. So teaching is really, in my opinion, it's probably the easiest way to make money because you're just moving your lips. It's not that hard. Consulting is hard. Consulting is where you have to solve problems. And so you have to really be an expert in your field to become a good consultant. Consultant really means solving specific and important problems for clients. Okay, so it requires a great deal of experience, like real life experience. Selling is easy or hard, depends on what you're selling. If you're selling, $50 widgets, it's easy. If you're selling to B2B, to business buyers, and you're charging at least $1,000, that's hard. Affiliate is pretty easy. So everyone should be an affiliate, in my opinion. Creating new products, it used to be hard, but nowadays with artificial intelligence, it's quite easy to create an ebook, a video course, images, videos. It's quite easy. Grok is pretty good at creating images and videos. But don't worry too much about these 3 ways of making money. Teaching is probably the easiest way, because even though creating ebooks technically and mechanically, it's easy with AI, the challenge here is that you don't know exactly what to create, and it can be challenging. The easiest way for people to make money from their expertise, from their job experience, is really to convert what they know into a course that they can teach. All right, guys, that's what I wanted to share with you. In the last 21 years, I've had a lot of success creating courses, webinars, seminars. And so I wanted to share that with you. What else can I teach you? No, I think that's it for now. So please, if you have questions, put them in the comments below and I will answer as soon as I can. I'm always excited to help people to learn how to teach because, in my opinion, it's something I should have done much sooner than 2005, but hey, better late than never, right? All right, guys, thank you for attending this live stream. I'll talk to you more in